There's nothing we can do.
Horse. It's a horse.
Wow. It's a horse. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Lenora. Welcome. Very happy to have you here.
Hi, Lenora.
Welcome, everybody. Today, we are very excited to finally get a video out in regards to our experience with banking in Mexico. Pretty long journey, which is probably what the answer you'll receive talking to anybody who's tried to get a bank account in Mexico if they're a foreigner. So welcome to everybody who's here. Real quick, we're trying to get better at this live thing. So guys, feel free to say hi in the chat. Welcome to all who's here.
Hi, everybody.
Leave comments, leave questions, whatever in the chat. We're going to touch on the stuff that we have written out very specifically for you guys so that you guys can get all the information you need. And if you have any thoughts, any questions, anything, drop it in the chat and we will touch on those things afterwards. But again, welcome everyone who's here. We're so happy to have everybody. Hopefully you guys can see us well. We're plugged into the Ethernet this time, so hopefully this comes out better than the last one. But yes. So did you want to say anything before we get into it?
So today we're going to share with you guys how to get a Mexican bank account. Now, keep in mind before we proceed with this that it may be different for you. We're going to share our personal experience. If you go on YouTube and you type in how to get a Mexican bank account, you're going to hear a bunch of different things. And so what we're going to do with you, because we're not like some sort of like legal experts.
Right.
We're just going to share with you guys our personal experience and how we did it and how you can possibly do it.
Right. I think that was a great point to bring up. We're not legal experts, and you're going to see a lot of people online telling you different things. We're going to tell you what we think you should do, okay? Because we've been through the mill with this. We're done. Like, it took us, I mean, don't get me wrong, we weren't trying every day to get a bank account, but it took us like months. And in the United States, I mean, you know, it's because we're foreigners. If we were Mexicans, we'd probably have a bank account in 5 minutes. But because we're foreigners, we had a lot of trouble. So we're going to give you all of the information we have to give.
Right. So this video is directed not towards Mexicans. This is directed towards foreigners, expats, immigrants.
And more specifically, towards temporary residents, because this is our experience being temporary residents here in Mexico. We're not permanent residents. We're temporary, and we're not on a tourist visa.
No.
If you are a tourist and you try to get a bank account, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. Now, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I have been told with more than enough people, as far as banks, as far as professionals, you're not going to get it if you're a...
You may have to bring other different things if it's possible.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get it. I do not think you'll get it. So you can try, and then you guys can make a YouTube video about it and let everybody else know your experience, but this is for temporary residents. That's what we are. All right, so first we wanted to start with why should you get a Mexican bank account? Because many people are going to say, I don't need a Mexican bank account. I have my the all too famous Charles Schwab card for the ATM. You go to an ATM, it dips right into your ATM. You got 0 ATM fees. Why should you ever get a Mexican bank account? Why? What's the point? Well, you don't necessarily need one. But in our experience, even with our Charles Schwab card, which covers all of your banking fees, your ATM transaction fees, they reimburse you at the end of the month, you're not getting the best exchange rate. Because when you use a banking card from the United States, you have to deal with two things. The first thing, ATM fees, okay? You're going to get hit with tons of ATM fees. And even if you have a bank that will cover your ATM fees, the problem with that is you're still dealing with the exchange rate. So let's say, for example, in case you guys aren't familiar, I want to go take my Charles Schwab card, my American Bank card, go to the Bancomer right here. I'm going to put my ATM card in there. They're going to charge me a fee in order to take that money out, a convenience fee or transaction fee. And then I'm also dealing with that exchange rate. So for example, I might want to take out 1,000 pesos. Well, if the peso to the dollar is like, 15 pesos to a dollar, I'm losing a lot of money as opposed to if the peso was 20 pesos to a dollar. So remember, you're dealing with exchange rates. So the more money you take out when the exchange rate is bad, the more money you are essentially losing. Okay? So that's one reason why you might want to get a Mexican bank account. You won't have to deal with that. You could literally take out pesos from your Mexican bank account. No exchange rate involved, no fees involved. Okay? You got anything to add on that front? I hope it doesn't look like I'm talking too much, but I literally wrote out the itinerary, so I kind of know what's up. Brittany's going to chime in whenever she feels like she's got to chime in. So I hope that all makes sense so far. And welcome to anybody who's joined.
Hi, everybody.
Since we started. Okay. Now, another reason might be why you might want a bank account here in Mexico is because you want to make money in pesos. So, for example, if you decided to buy an investment property, which you can do if you are a temporary resident, or even if you are not a temporary resident and you're just on a tourist visa, you can technically buy properties, right? At least the last time I checked, okay? Remember, we're not professionals. But you certainly can buy properties if you're a temporary resident, and if you wanted to do so and you wanted to make pesos, so you don't have to deal with exchange rates, you don't want to deal with ATM fees and all that, well, just make money in pesos and you're good. You don't have to worry about any of the fees. You don't have to worry about any of the exchange rates. You'll need a bank account to do that likely because you might not always be near your property. So you might want your tenants to go ahead and put the money into the account for you and all that stuff. So that's another reason why you might want to do that for business purposes, right? And hey, guys, I see some comments popping up on the comment. Please drop those comments in. We're going to hit all those comments and questions after we get through the whole entire list that we have here. Welcome to everybody. Now, before we let you know about all of our attempts and what they were like to help you guys when you go, we're going to talk about what we needed in order to get a bank account because you have certain requirements being a foreigner. Again, these are our experiences and what we were told by all the banks that we've been to, okay? The first bank that we went to was BBVA.
BBVA.
BBVA. Thank you. BBVA. Now, the reason why we went to what is it?
BBVA.
BBVA. The reason why we went to BBVA is because they are, out of all the people that we spoke to, they were like the most legitimate bank. Apparently, they have the most clout in Mexico. So they're the strongest bank, and you want to deal with a strong bank because you don't want any banking problems, right? You don't want a bank to close and then all of a sudden, oh, what do I do? They're very popular here. There's tons of them.
They're the most populous, how do I say it? The largest branch, it's called?
The largest bank.
Branch in Mexico, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, chain?
The largest chain in Mexico as far as banks, from what we were told.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, all right, we want the best.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to get the best. We're going to go over there and we're going to get our account. Now, we spoke to them initially and they told us you'll need your passport, your residency card, and your CFE bill. In Mexico, they say CFE bill. That's your electric bill, okay? They also told us that that electric bill does not have to be connected to where you're actually living. They just need a bill. That's what we were told. Any bill. You could go to your friend and be like, hey, could I borrow your bill? Sure. Take my bill. And now you have a bill. Would I recommend, if you are living in Mexico, even if you're at an Airbnb, to bring the bill that you are receiving, would I recommend it? Personally, I would. If you're living in Mexico, I would say just bring your electric bill if you have one, or your landlord's electric bill. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but it has to kind of do with the CI bond. What happened with that one? But
Right,
I'm
that's why I'm
that.
recommending. So
Yeah.
we'll get into it later. I would recommend, even if you're staying in an Airbnb, ask the host, can I borrow your electric bill?
Yeah. And keep in mind, too, this is what I want to bring out to before we go on, kind of, hope I'm not taking away, but if you go with an electric bill, let's say your residency, well, actually, we won't even get to that. We'll go to that later. It's what happened with the other bank. We'll go with the other one.
Okay, so we'll move forward. On our first try with this bank, BBVA, we sat there for about 4 hours to find out that my signature, and I actually made a specific video letting you guys know about this because it's super important. My signature on my temporary, temporary ID, my, what's it called?
Your temporary residency card?
My temporary residency card. My signature on the temporary residency card did not match my passport signature.
Mm-hmm.
Because that happened, it was impossible to get a bank. In fact, if you wanted to get a bank account, but your signatures did not match, or if you wanted to buy a car, and your signatures didn't match, or you wanted to do anything, maybe even get an apartment, but your signatures did not match on your passport and your temporary ID, you would likely never get anywhere with anybody.
It doesn't matter if it has your picture, you have the same face,
right?
Same hair color, same eye color. Even if it looks just like you, they don't care.
They don't care. They told us you could get surgery in order to fake a picture, but your signature you can't fake. That's what we were told. So we actually had to renew my signature in order to match the passport signature and have both IDs, both form of IDs match. Now, there was another way that the bank told us, well, if you don't want to change your signature on your passport and you don't want to change your signature on your card, if you can't change them to match, you could go ahead and get a Mexican ID. Now, this just popped into my head, so I don't remember the name of the place that you would get it. I'm going to try to remember and put that in the description later on, okay? But you can get a Mexican ID, and I just don't remember the name of the place you would go to get it. And that ID would supersede both your residency card and your passport in terms of creating an account with the bank, okay? And maybe you guys would be able to drop in the comments if you know where to get a Mexican ID. That would help me out because then I don't have to try to figure out where to get that, okay? And thank you guys for all the comments. Thank you guys. Please keep dropping them because every comment is going to help the next person. That's what this live is about. So anyway, I had to renew my Mexican temporary ID. And when I did, I had to match the passport signature. After I did that, came the second time that we went to a BBVA, okay? First time, no, signature didn't match. Even though we sat there for 4 hours, signature didn't match.
We were very close.
We were very close until they decided to say, oh, wait a minute, nope, doesn't match.
She made a copy of the passports.
Yep, we went through the whole thing.
Yeah. She looked at mine because she said his signature wasn't good. My signature didn't match. So neither of us were able to. And something I also want to mention too with this time was they also said we could not open a joint account.
Yes, that's a great point to bring up. From the beginning, BBVA said you cannot open a joint account, meaning my wife and I in the United States, we have a joint account. It's her account and my account. We can both add money, both take money out. Over here, they said, sorry, if you want your own bank account, you got to open up a separate account.
And they said you have to have a Mexican phone number.
And Lenora, yes, we're talking about, I believe, a Mexican state ID, I believe. Thank you. But yes, so you needed to have a separate bank account, And that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. We needed a Mexican phone number. So passport, residency card, CFE bill, electric bill, and you needed a Mexican phone number. What you did not need, and what they told us you do not need at every bank we went to, was an RFC number. Okay? You did not need an RFC number. You're going to have people online telling you that you need an RFC number. In our experience, you did not need an RFC number. In fact, we specifically said, do we need an RFC number? And they said, no.
No, because your residency card has your CURP on it too. So they just needed that number. They just needed the card, the passport, your ID, your passport. They just needed that information. And then they needed the Mexican phone number.
Right. The Mexican phone number was an important thing that you did need in order to open an account. So, you go get a Mexican SIM card. You can go to an OXXO, one of the Mexican 7-Elevens, get a SIM card, and you're good to go. You pop it in your phone, you're good to go. All right, so that was the first try over at BBVA. Now comes the second try. I got my signature matching. Brittany's signature is now matching better, even though her signature was pretty good before. We had to match it letter to letter.
We went to the residency to renew our residency. That's when we were able, they make you re-sign your card when you get to renew your residency card. That's
right.
Yeah.
And so it said, and so they said it has to match letter to letter. You got to be like a machine. You need to literally practice that signature, because if not, you might end up not being able to get anywhere. Because I don't sign my signature the same way. In the United States, they don't care. They look at your picture and they're like, hey, sign it however you want. I've even been told, don't sign it the same way every time. Because if you do, somebody could learn how to sign your signature.
Yeah.
I was told this in the United States. So don't sign it the same way, because someone can learn how to copy it perfectly. And then it's no use to you. So whatever the case is,
in Mexico is another ball game. So
Mexico's
anything
different.
you think about the U.S., just forget it.
Forget it.
It's different.
Doesn't matter
Different
here.
Country.
Yeah, it doesn't matter here. So the second time comes around, and we go to another BBVA. Okay. That BBVA recognized, hey, their signatures are great. So we sat there for 4 hours, right? Sat there for 4 hours. We opened our bank account. We actually got it done.
Oh, there was a time before that too, actually.
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, that time. Okay. So we tried multiple times.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about all the times, because more than once our signature was a problem. So we already told you the signature was a problem. So now we're moving to the second important time. The other times don't matter.
Well, yeah, I wanted to bring out though what happened the second time. The second time, she said to us, your residency card is in a different state than a electric bill. That's what we got told that time. She said that's what the woman said.
Yeah, depending on the bank you go to, that's a good point to bring out. You might want, that's why I said before, try to get the CFE bill, the electric bill, from the place that you're staying at. Because some banks will ask for any one, and then other banks will be like, no, it needs to be from this state.
Right. So, let's say you have a Michoacan, temporary residency, and you try to go to Jalisco or Guanajuato. They may say, no, sorry, you need a bill from this state.
They might, and they might not. It depends on the bank. So that's why I recommend take the bill from where you're staying and go to that same place. Okay. So second time rolls around, go to the bank, fix the signatures, sign the paperwork, open the app. They got to scan your fingerprints. They need you to sign 1 million papers. So you're sitting there for 4 hours signing, right? They need to scan your face for the app at BBVA, right? Very, very extensive app, which was cool. That's one of the reasons why we wanted BBVA, very, very good as far as from what the Mexican people tell us, right? They're held in high esteem. So we wanted that. And so what ended up happening is we went through the whole spiel. 4 hours later, our bank account is open. We have it. Now, Brittany was not able.
I didn't have it.
Yeah, Brittany didn't have it.
No,
I had it.
No, yeah, he had it.
But Brittany didn't have it because you can't have a joint account. We were pissed about that, but we're like, all right, look, whatever.
Yeah.
We need an account. So we have to do what we have to do. So I have an account and we're done. The guy behind the desk that we're working with actually says, all right, so now that we have your account open, I'm also going to open the mandatory foreigner savings account. And we were looking at each other like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah, it's an account that you have to open because you're a foreigner. And you will have to put a mandatory amount of money in every month. But don't worry. That money is going to automatically come out of the first savings account that we just opened, automatically be withdrawed, and put into the savings account. It's called a mandatory health or something like that savings account.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing is, before this even happened, I didn't have a good feeling about this because, actually, you told me later, actually, what happened, that I didn't even hear it because I was, but they wanted your social security number, they wanted your license, right? They wanted all this stuff.
Right.
The other ones didn't ask for that. I don't think that they should not ask for your American driver's license.
We can't say that.
I don't think
because
they
they asked me, do you want to be able to use your BBVA in all throughout the world? Right? You go to Europe and they have a BBVA. Would you like to do that? I said yes. And so that's why I think they asked for my social security number and my driver's license. Long story short, that's what they asked for. Okay. So moving forward, I don't remember where I was. Where was I?
Moving forward, he suggested mandatory savings account.
Okay. Mandatory savings account. The mandatory savings account that they said money will automatically be deducted. I would not be able to touch that account for 8 months. So I said, well, where's my money going? It's not going to me. It sounds like it's going to you. And they said, no, we can't touch it either. And at that point, Brittany and I looked at each other and we were like, no, forget this, because you're hijacking our money. And it wasn't $100. It wasn't $50. It wasn't $200. It was like over 500 USD. And initially, when they said, all right, how much do you plan on bringing into your Mexican account every month? I said, oh, probably about 500 USD. Nothing crazy. They would literally be taking all my money, putting it into an account that I'm not allowed to touch for 8 months minimum. And they said, oh, yeah, after 8 months, you could go ahead and cancel the account. Then you could take your money or whatever. And I was like, this is crazy. And Brittany's like, no.
No, this doesn't make sense. And we were also with our Mexican friend who was with us, and she was like, I never heard of this.
Right. Our Mexican friend who helped the process because of her Spanish, she was like, even Mexicans don't have to deal with this. I would not recommend it. She said, I would go somewhere else. And we were like, all right, we're going to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So we were pissed at BBVA. We tried 3 times at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 times BBVA. And we're like, all right, forget BBVA. We're going to go to another place.
Oh, and also before we get to the other place, our other friend said, oh, you can do it on the app, on the phone. We tried that, and they're like, nope, we're not Mexican. So, for Mexicans, it's different. Like I said, if you are a foreigner, it's going to be different than a Mexican. So don't think that you could just go on the BBVA app and just try to set up an account that way, because it won't work for you.
Yeah, Mexicans are able to open up a BBVA account through the app without ever going to a branch in many cases. But that as a foreigner, it tells you when you open the app, sorry, if you're a foreigner, you can't do it. So, all right, so we were done with BBVA.
We gave up.
Gave up on them, and we said, all right, there's another place, CI Banco, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to CI Banco. Let's see if they can get us an account. So we go to the place. The guy was nice, filled out all the forms. And in this case, he actually said, we need our passport, our residency card, our CFE electric bill, right? That bill needed to be from the state that we were in. Okay, so Michoacan. And he said, you don't need an RFC number, but what you do need is your lease agreement with your landlord. Now, this was new BBVA did not ask for the lease agreement with the landlord. This place did want it. So we gave all the other information. This time we were only sitting there for about 2 hours.
We filled out the paperwork. We gave our information. It was, yeah, pretty
Right.
intense.
We gave them all the information. They had what they needed except for the lease agreement. So the guy said, no problem. Get me the lease agreement ASAP, and we're going to get you rolling on this. We went through, it was like hell to get that lease agreement. We had to wait for the landlord to write it out. Then they had to send it to us. Then we had to do this. We had to print it, blah, blah, blah. We finally get that lease agreement, give it to him, right? 3 days go by. I email the guy. He doesn't answer. A week goes by. I email him. No answer. Another 2 days go by. We physically go to the place because we're like, what's going on? You're wasting our time here at this point. Long story short, through emails and personal visits, about a month passed. And
I'm sorry. I just remembered that they also said that this bank that we could have a joint account. So that's really why we wanted to go with them.
About a month passed. And then all of a sudden, I email them and I'm like, what's going on? This is ridiculous. Email back and said, oh, maybe it's better you just go to another bank. Like, what? What just happened? No clue why. No explanation. It was simply because I was pressuring them to get the job done that they were like, just go to another bank. So,
and he was saying, oh, my assistant has to do that. He said too, like pretty much blaming his assistant.
He was blaming his assistant for not working fast enough.
Yeah.
So we were like, what? At this point, I was like, I'm not even going to get a bank account here. I don't even care. I'll pay the interest, blah, 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 blah. And so eventually we ended up talking to one of our best friends here in Mexico, who's not a Mexican, Wendy Howard. You guys might know about Wendy Howard because we've done so many videos with Wendy. Wendy is a real estate agent. And if you're interested in buying property, I would recommend you go to her because you're not just buying a real estate agent when you work with Wendy. You're not just getting a real estate agent. You are getting an extremely well-versed, intelligent human being who can help you in many aspects in life. She said, I'm going to get you a bank account. I'm going to get you the same bank that we work with over at my real estate company. That bank is BX Plus, or it's also called Ve por Más. I think it stands for Go for More in Spanish. Okay? So BX Plus or Ve por Más exists throughout Mexico, but Wendy is over in the lakeside area, the Ajijic, Chapala, Jocotepec area. So there's a couple of branches around this area. So Wendy said, come over here, take my friend's number and go get a bank account. We take the number. The person's name is Elizabeth. I text Elizabeth. And this is really weird. I'm literally being given a number by somebody who I trust. I trust Wendy, or else I would have been like, I'm not taking this number. I don't know who this is. But so we take this number. I text like, hi, I got your number from Wendy. Can I know who I'm texting? Because you want to make sure that you're texting the right person. If you text somebody in Mexico and you're a foreigner, you need to make sure you're talking to the right person. So don't just be like, hi, is this Elizabeth? My name is Joe, and I got your information from Wendy. No, you need to be like this. Hi, my name is Joe. I got your information from Wendy. Who am I speaking with? That's what you want to do. Okay? The reason why is because you don't want to give them the information in case you're texting the wrong person. You don't want to give the wrong person personal details where they can be like, yeah, I'm Elizabeth. I work at the bank. Give me your account information, right? Long story short, I text Elizabeth. Elizabeth writes back and says, hey, I'm Elizabeth. I work with Wendy. Wendy has an account with me. How can I help you? I said, we need a bank account. From that point forward, we had a personal banking assistant
And I also wanted to bring out, too, before we go on with the story, so far in our journey, you know, the banks we went to, they didn't speak English, the tellers. So that was also another, you know, thing. With this one, BX Plus, they speak English.
Right. With this BX Plus that we're talking about, they speak perfect English, everybody who works there. And we'll tell you a little bit more about why, because there's a reason why. We'll tell you in a little bit. So at this point forward, I am texting on WhatsApp my own personal banking assistant. She says, I'm going to get your account. I need a picture of your passport, picture of your ID, picture of this, picture of that. I need your phone number. And don't worry, because Brittany can be with you in a joint account. Brittany's allowed. I need her passport, ID card, the temporary residency ID. And I also need a picture of your CFE bill. And that's it. That's it. Now, the CFE bill did not have to be from this state. Jalisco, it did not have to be. But it's good that we gave her a bill from Jalisco. The reason why is because we found out later that if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to get a money, it's pretty amazing, a money delivery service. But we'll talk a little more about that later, okay? Long story short, try to get a CFE bill from the state you're in so there's no issues.
Yeah.
I have a personal banking assistant. I sent Elizabeth all my information, even though I felt so scared. I'm like...
She didn't ask for an RFC either.
She did not ask for an RFC. She said you do not need an RFC.
No.
Specifically, she said that. So I feel weird. I'm sending my life's information to this lady. But in about a day or two, she hit me back with a text and says, you're ready to go? Come to my office. So the fact that I did all this online with her through an email or a text means that we weren't at the office for a long time. Drive to the office, sit down with Elizabeth. Fantastic human being. Extremely hard worker. I cannot even say enough good about this woman. I told her, I was like, listen, I know I don't have to give you any type of tip, but I want to. I want to give you money because you're just so good. She's like, nope, this is my job, no money. Okay, no problem. Thanks, Elizabeth. But we sat down with her for, it might have been an hour. Do a couple of signatures here or there. She lets us know that we have our bank accounts. She lets us know that we actually, along with the bank account, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking that when I was the signature does matter even with this bank. I just want to point that out too.
Yes.
It does matter. In fact, when I was signing, and I remember I didn't put a space, in my passport I have a space between my first name and my middle name, and they were like, you need to have the space. And so I signed again with the signature. And so, yeah, make sure if you have a space in your name, not just the signature, but if the spacings, make sure the spacings are, they're not going to be like, oh, it has to be 100% identical, but you need to get as close as possible, as humanly possible. I cannot stress that enough. And if you don't have, I'm not trying to scare anybody, if you don't have that right now, because they don't tell you that at the immigration office when you go.
Right.
No one told us that. I would go to the immigration office if I were you, and you may have to wait until you have to renew again, or maybe you could ask them, can I redo my signature on my residency card? With us, it just happened to work out that we had to renew anyway, the residency card, so we redid the signature. But I would try to definitely do that. It's still important. And also, with this bank, she did ask for a Mexican phone number, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
You need a Mexican phone number. If you're opening a bank account, you need a Mexican phone number. In all the experience that we've had. So, again, the one bank that asked for the lease agreement, that was the CI Banco. BBVA, BX Plus, they didn't ask for that. So the things that kind of remain constant here are the passport, the temporary ID, your Mexican ID, right? Your temporary residency card or whatever, the CFE bill, and the phone number. Those are the things that remain constant. RFC, everybody said, literally said no, because we asked them, do you need this number? They're like, nope.
No.
So anyway, we're sitting there, but it's true. Your signature must match. We overheard a conversation in the bank of someone else speaking to one of the reps, one of the tellers, and they were saying, I'm sorry, if I was in charge, I would let you have the account, but your signature doesn't match, so I cannot allow you to have the account. Now, remember I said, Elizabeth, I want to give you more money. You're just amazing. You're like my personal banker. I can text you and you'll do whatever I need you to do. You'll move my money wherever you want. She even set it up so that we can move money to the United States, move pesos to the United States. She set that up for us. Extremely hard worker. She said, listen, this is my job. And she said, this bank is here for the foreigners. Now, I don't know if all BX Pluses or Vapor Mas bank branches are for foreigners. I don't know, because they do exist in places where foreigners aren't too abundant. But she specifically said to us, we are here for the foreigners. That's why we speak English. That's why you're going to get your bank account.
They're already used to it.
They're already used to us. They know our signatures aren't going to match, so they can try to help us. They know all this stuff, so they know how to streamline the process. And we were so happy because we were about to give up. Before this, we were about to give up. So I would recommend personally, try one of the BX Pluses or the Vapor Mas banks. They're the same. I would recommend trying that, and I would highly recommend the one that's located over in Chapala, right? Because, or it's either Chapala or Ajijic, one or the other. But the reason why I recommend it is because they're going to get you your paperwork. Now, keep in mind, though, they have a money delivery service, which is really cool. You literally send an email to one of the reps, and they have a guy on a scooter come and bring you your money or take your money and bring it to the bank, which is really sick.
It's insured all the way up till it gets to you.
The money is insured. So if you lose your money for any reason, it's insured. You get it all back. So we've already done this, and it was great because he just comes right to your door.
You just fill out how much you're giving him, the paper, and then, he's off.
It was it. That was it. But you have to make sure that the address you originally give to the BX Plus bank on your CFE bill matches where you're going to be living. Because if not, that little scooter guy can only go to the address that was given originally, right? So if you gave your friend's CFE bill, well, you might have to go to your friend's house if you want money delivered.
Yeah, so think about that.
Think about that. They also allow you up to 6 transactions on your card without any fees. 6 a month.
So you can go to like any other bank. Let's say you're visiting somebody and you need money. You can just use your debit card. And they gave each of us a debit card. So I have a debit card. Joe has a debit card. It's all good. And we can just go do that. Now, something I will say that is a downside about this bank is the app.
Yeah.
The app, we gave up on the app.
The app's annoying.
Yeah.
And it's partly our fault because we confused. I will take the blame for this. I didn't confuse. Long story short, I used 2 Mexican SIM cards. And because we used two Mexican SIM cards, because we need a Mexican phone number, the person who we spoke with got confused with the names. And because the names were backwards, our apps were backwards. Yeah. Long story short, you may or may not have a problem with the app.
Yeah.
Long story short. But is it like the best app in the world? Absolutely not.
No,
it's not.
You don't need the app.
But you don't really need the app.
You can do it online.
You can go online, then you don't need the app, so that's great. Just go online on the computer, the physical computer.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do. Or you just call the bank. You can text the bank. Yeah. Unreal. They're great. They're great. So it's been a great experience, and I recommend these guys because you're going to get your bank if you're going to get your bank account if you're a foreigner. And again, you can go to any bank, any ATM. You get up to 6 transactions a month with no fees, and you're taking out pesos. So if all of a sudden the dollar to the dollar to pesos ratio, right? Start a new word here. If that goes from 20 to $1 again, well, you just bring a ton of money into Mexico. You just buy a bunch of pesos, trade for pesos, right? Now you have all those pesos sitting in your Mexican bank, and you just take out those pesos whenever you want. You're not dealing with a bad exchange rate. You're not dealing with any fees, nothing. Now you have your bank account. And the bank account will also help you in the future if you want to buy a Mexican car, whatever the case is.
It's good because in case you want to, let's say you want to go back to the U.S. for a few months, then you're making pesos, well, they can just take the money from this account, put it into your American account, or vice versa. If you want to put American to here, it can work either way.
Right. Now, I also still recommend Wise. Now, I've talked about Wise in the past. The reason why Wise is good is because you get the best exchange rate. I don't know how good our Mexican bank, the BX Plus, is as far as exchange rate. So if I were to say, hey, BX Plus, I want you to send 10,000 pesos to my American account, I don't know how well that's going to do because of the exchange rate. Wise, on the other hand, can give you the market exchange rate. Okay, so they're giving you like the best exchange rate. So if you want to move money from pesos to dollars or dollars to pesos, Wise is still very valuable because you're going to get the best exchange rate. So I still recommend having a Wise account. One of the reasons that Wise kind of sucks is because you can actually open up a Wise Mexican account, but Wise is not there yet as far as the bank account information. So what I'm trying to tell you is, without trying to make it confusing, Wise will not be able to give you a routing number, an account number for a Mexican bank account yet. You can have the Mexican bank account, but you don't have those numbers yet. They're working on it. So until they work on it, I need to send my Mexican pesos to my American Wise and then transfer from the American Wise into my Mexican Wise because they don't have that routing number and all that yet. In the future, Wise tells me we're going to get it. We're working on it. So whatever. So I hope that helps. I know that was a lot of information. We're going to hit the comments.
So just to review everything we just said, personally, I think I speak for both of us. We don't recommend BBVA. If you're Mexican, go for it. Maybe if you're married to a Mexican, it may be different. We don't have that experience, obviously. Go for it. Try it. Maybe it'll work. If you're American, Canadian, British, Australian, New Zealand, wherever you're coming from, whatever country, we recommend CI Banco. I'm sorry, not CI Banco. No, sorry, BX Plus.
BX Plus.
Too many banks. Yeah, BX Plus, V por Más.
V por Más.
V por Más. So you need the Mexican accent. And so remember, bring your passport, residency card, make sure the signatures match, bring a Mexican phone number, make sure that Mexican phone number works. It's really for the app. That's really why they want it.
They make you have it.
Yeah.
You have to have a Mexican phone number.
And yes,
I think that's
pretty much it. And the electric bill.
Yeah. As for that RFC number, none of our experience with anybody said anything about an RFC. So be confident that you can get a bank account with the simple information that they ask you to have, as long as they're working with you, right? CI Banco completely flat left us for no reason. BBVA, God knows what was going on with them. They wanted to make some kind of extra sale with getting us into a separate account that we never wanted telling us that it's mandatory. And then when I emailed the branch, I actually got a response saying, please give us another chance. So what that representative was doing was probably not even legal or necessary. Complete waste of our time.
Again, there was, that was in an area where there's not that many foreigners that we were also in with that rep. And
Right.
this is, this is a good bank, I think, that we're with because they're used to foreigners, like we said. And yeah, you can try different banks in different parts of Mexico. Maybe you'll get it, maybe you won't get it, but you might have the language barrier if you don't speak Spanish fluently. And let me tell you, it can be very complicated. Even in English, it can be complicated. So let alone Spanish. And even with having a friend who speaks Spanish going with you, it can still be complicated. So if you're somewhere where they speak English, you can understand what the paper says. They sit with you. She sat with us. She helped us, and it wasn't just like, go figure it out on yourself, so that was good.
All right.
This bank is also in different parts of Mexico. They're not in all parts. That's the biggest downside I would say about this Vapor Mas is
they're in a decent amount. Though.
Yeah, for example, they're not in Morelia. I'm just gonna say.
And it doesn't matter really.
Yeah.
They're not in Morelia, for example, right? Where we intend to live, right? Morelia. Even though we opened the bank here in Jalisco, we intend to live in Michoacan. They're not located over there in Morelia, for example. But who cares? Because if you can virtually move money, at that point it doesn't matter, right? You can go to any bank with the card and you get no fees.
Up to 6 times.
Up to six times. So you're pretty good,
mm-hmm.
As far as that goes. And like I said, I literally texted Elizabeth, and she was just like, amazing.
I think they're in other parts of Mexico, like León, Guadalajara, over here too. So they're in different parts of Mexico. Just Google it.
Yeah, just Google Vapor Mas or BX Plus.
Let's look at the comments.
So, first comment we have here, at Mexico, either as you keep at least 5,000 Mexican pesos or use your debit card on 10 purchases monthly, you'll be free of fees. That's coming from Reuben. Reuben, I believe, is probably a local in Mexico, right? I could be wrong, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say Reuben knows this because of that. Now, whether that's true 100% all the time with every single bank, I cannot confirm.
Yeah, I remember one of our friends, she has Scotiabank, and I remember she said that she has to keep a minimum, she has to make certain things every month. And we were like, for us, that may not be good, because if we're in the U.S. sometimes, like for months, we may not be able to put deposit whatever in, so we didn't want to go with that bank. I don't know which bank you're referring to, Reuben, but that might be with certain banks.
All right, so let's move on. Thank you very much, Reuben,
you.
for that information. All right, we have BBVA equals Banco Bilbao. I can't say those words.
Okay.
You're probably right, Wilfredo. Honestly, I heard another name that BBVA stood for online, but I can't guarantee it. But either way, BBVA is it Bancomer? Yeah.
Bancomer.
It used to be called Bancomer, I think, or whatever. So
yeah.
Thank you very much for the information.
Really don't recommend them. Some people, I think, have had been able to do it. I mean, we had the account. You had the account.
I got an account with them, but we canceled it on the spot. And
Same day.
And then the guy, all right, so we canceled it. We said, no, forget it. Cancel the account. He said, oh, we can't cancel it because we just opened it. And I said, what? And then in 30 seconds, like, oh, no, we can cancel it. So that guy was like screwing around.
It was horrible. We were hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and
right.
hours and hours.
Just to cancel the account that we opened because they wanted extra money for whatever reason. Who knows? Thank you, Wilfredo. I love your picture, by the way. I think that is the cutest thing. All right, Reuben. Keep away from Banorte with those guys when your debit card expires and you forget to renew it. They put your money on their not reclaimed money account. Correct. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. You got to be very careful when you go to a bank that they don't just take your money. Because if all of a sudden you have an inactive account and you're not making, that's the whole point of making your monthly payment. Like Brittany just said, some banks ask you to please keep a certain amount in there or make a monthly payment. Some banks only require that you do the monthly payment. You can't just keep a certain amount. So it all depends. But if you don't feed that bank account, hey, all of a sudden, this bank account's inactive. After a certain amount of time, goes right to the government. So be very, very careful about that. Thank you very much, Reuben, for that information. Reuben's definitely from Mexico.
Yeah.
It's got to be from Mexico. All right, Lenora Wilson, are you speaking of a Mexican state ID? That is correct, Lenora. There's a place that you can go, and I just don't remember what it.
They're not in all cities.
They're not in all
It's in
cities,
Guadalajara,
yeah.
I think.
But there's a place you can go to get a Mexican ID, even if you're a foreigner, a temporary resident. So it's not going to be the same as your temporary resident or permanent resident card. It's like a Mexican state ID, like you said. So I don't remember the name, but we'll have to figure it out.
I think with that card, you get the RFC number on it.
With that card, you might get the RFC
I think
number.
that's what our friend told us. Yeah.
Right.
It's like a Mexican ID, like your yeah, that's what
Yeah.
they have. So
Right.
yeah.
And we were told that if you have that card, you don't need your passport or your temporary resident ID. You just need that card.
That's what we were told, but that was from a Mexican, so we cannot. I guess we can't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's just what we were told
We were
from
told.
one of the people at the bank.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
We
no.
went to the
that
bank
one.
and she said, hey, if you can't change your signatures, get a new signature. Have that new signature be on your Mexican state ID. You can go to this place to get it.
Lenora Wilson.
We got another one from Lenora.
I guess I'll be in trouble because I really signed my name the same way.
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry. I completely clicked the wrong one. Yeah, I guess I'll be trouble. Yes, you would be Lenora, but you're not going to be. Why? Because you watched this video.
Yeah.
So you will not be in any trouble.
Yeah.
Now you know. You can fix it. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. We got another one from Lenora. Lenora's holding up this live right now. I'm telling you. Thank you, Lenora. Well, I may just be paying for those fees. Yeah, sure. If you have the inclination, please go for it. Lenora, since you can't open a joint account, if for some reason you're unable to go to the bank, can your wife get money out in the case of an emergency? With the other banks, because now, as we mentioned, we have a joint account through BX Plus, but with the other banks, my wife would be able to only if she had my card, like took my card and had the PIN number for the card, or if she somehow was able to get on my phone, go into the app and get a digital card number.
Because they wouldn't let me even have the app.
Right. She was not allowed to have the app. So she would have to go into my phone, get a temporary digital code to allow her into the ATM in order to get money. And BBVA also said that they're going to allow her to be in the notes on the account. So if she had to, and like something happened to me, she can come in, tell them, look up the account. I'm on the notes. I should be allowed to take money out. But that didn't seem to be the best way, because I could see that happening and then them saying, sorry, he's not here. We can't give it to you. Excellent question, by the way, Lenore.
Great question. Thank you, everybody, for all your questions and earning interest on your money.
Marion, yes, last time I checked, you would be getting interest on your money. Yes. In fact, last time I checked, I don't want to give you any bad numbers, but last time I checked, you can actually get some great interest in Mexico on your money. Great interest. So keep that in mind. Okay, Lenora. In Mexico, they don't give a copy of your lease agreement. That's a great question. The reason we didn't have a copy of the lease agreement initially already ready to go is because we rented through someone that we knew. Typically, yes, you'll get a lease agreement. So we had to physically go get it because we were renting from practically family. And they were just like, yeah, here you go. Just have your house. And they were cool with it because they know that we're good. We're going to pay and all that. So depending on who you go with, if you just decide to rent from somebody in Mexico, they're going to either say, I want a lease agreement, or they're going to say, give me money up front and you can forego the lease agreement because we already have your money. It all depends on how you work it out. But that's why we personally didn't have a lease agreement initially. Wilfredo, it doesn't have to be like that. I have a BBVA account. Opened it in 4 hours. The reason you need a Mexican phone is to download the app. Yes, correct. They told us that without the app and without the phone number, you can't have an account. And yes, as far as it doesn't have to be like that, absolutely. What they did to us was trying to take advantage of us because we were foreigners. And again, like I said, one of the higher ups in the company wrote to us and was like, hey, give us another chance. Nope. Not happening.
No.
Not happening.
No.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, we got the two travelers in Mexico on. They got a bank account. And Intercam Bank has worked well for us. We heard of Intercam Bank, and we were told not to go with them because they're not a real bank. Now, I don't know why everybody says that they're not a real bank, because they seem to work well with a lot of people. I don't know what the deal is with that, but that's why we didn't go with them. But if it works, that's all that matters, right? Last time I checked. So I'm very happy to know that Intercam Bank has been working well for the two travelers in Mexico and that they've had no issues. And in case you're wondering, they're foreigners, everybody. And if you haven't checked their channel out, check out their channel. Excellent, excellent content. Lenora dropped a fact. Thank goodness for Wendy. Thank goodness for Wendy is an understatement, Lenora. Wendy you are not just getting a real estate agent. You're getting a real estate agent. You're getting like every connection you need. You need to know how to buy a car. Talk to Wendy. You need to know about who to use for a cleaning person. Talk to Wendy. Wendy's got it. Wendy's the best. Wendy's amazing. Highly recommend her in case you want an apartment, a house, or whatever. She's going to hook you up and you're getting a friend along with it. Invaluable. Invaluable. Okay. Next. The two travelers in Mexico. You don't need an RFC if the bank is not based in Mexico.
That's correct. I think that it is. I think that, yeah, because BBVA is, I think, based in Spain. Could be wrong. I think they're from Spain.
Okay.
I don't have my phone on me to check, but
right.
I think it's Spain right here.
Yeah, like I said, like we mentioned earlier, there's people on the internet saying you have to have your RFC number. And the reason why we're telling you guys that in our experience, we haven't had to have that number is so that you don't feel discouraged. Know that you can go to a bank without that number and you can get your bank account, okay? So very important. Thank you guys for letting us know. Two travelers in Mexico. The satirical rabbit. Why do the security in Electra look like they're armed for warfare? Yet they're on their phones most of the time. Most of the armed guards in Mexico are heavily armed. Like they look like they're going to war. Yes.
Oh. I just want to point this out. I'm on right now. It says CI Banco SA is from, it says Mexico. I think they're from Mexico, maybe. It looks like they're from Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, CI Banco is a Mexican commercial bank, so they're from Mexico, but they didn't ask for the RFC number. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You know?
If they don't ask you for it, you don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need it at that point. But yeah, so all the security, you'll be walking through Walmart and you'll see guys who look like they're about to go to a legitimate war. And they're like just a guard at Walmart. So, and half the time, like you said, they are on their phones because they're human beings and they're bored and nobody's there half the time causing trouble. Probably because they're there with their, military gear and all that. So, that's just what it is. But that is true and very funny. It really is. Satirical Rabbit, I will put most of my dinero in Panama instead of City Bancomax.
Bancomax, maybe?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, wherever you figure out a place to put it, just put it. Do what you gotta do. Do you. Straight up.
Okay.
What about Capital One Bank? Lenora, I believe that you mean, can you transfer money from a Mexican bank account to Capital One? I'm assuming that's what you mean. Well, yeah, last time I checked, absolutely. With BX Plus, they said, give us your bank information and we will make it so that you can transfer your money right over. So yeah, with Capital One, absolutely you should be able to, as long as you have that routing number and you have your account number. BBYA is terrible. Yeah, so BBVA, I'm assuming that's what that is. And yes, we've only had bad experiences. My experience is wonderful with Banorte. If you let your card unused for years, maybe when your card expires, you can buy a card at 7-Eleven and configure it with the app. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, Abagus, if I'm saying your name right. I don't know if you're a native to Mexico, and if so, I think that BBVA is excellent because all the Mexicans love BBVA. For us, though, as a foreigner, I can't ever recommend it. But for you guys, I think it's probably great if you are, indigenous to Mexico. I'm not sure. I'm just jumping on a ledge there. Lenora, you guys are awesome. Thank you truly for this valuable information. We are so happy to help. You have no idea. We're very, very happy to help. This channel is here to help you guys make your journey easier. And it's also here to help us to try to make a living while we're in Mexico, right? Because let's face it, we're monetized now, gratefully. And even though YouTube really pays its creators peanuts, every dollar counts. Because every dollar is, I don't know, last time I checked out, 17 pesos. So every dollar and every pesos counts. So we're happy to be here to help. And we're happy to know that you're finding value in this. Very, very happy to know that. Thank you, Lenora. So does anybody else have any thoughts or questions? Because we actually don't have any more comments right now. And if we answered all your questions, we're probably going to let you go because we're going on a little trip tomorrow. We'll probably let you know during the week where we are, as we're going to keep it for a surprise for now. But we're going on a little bit of a vacation. In fact, you'll definitely know where we were because we're going to do some videos over there. But we're not telling you where yet. So do you guys have any other thoughts, any other questions before Brittany and I go finish packing for our trip? If not, it's all good. No worries. But we're very, very happy. We love doing lives because we get to connect with you guys and all that stuff. And it's really, really fun. Wilfredo, thank you. No, thank you, Wilfredo. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your input, your questions, your comments. Really appreciate it.
Soon.
George.
Jorge.
Jorge. Jaime or Jamie?
Jorge Jaime?
Yeah, depending on how you say it.
Zoom.
I don't know what that means, my friend. I don't know what that means. But maybe you can clarify? Not sure.
Don't know.
And drop us a comment, guys. If you got any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for future videos, let us know. Let us know so that we know what we can give you guys. We're glad to know that some of our content helps. Hopefully all of it helps. Very, very grateful to know that. We got some pretty cool ideas coming up for future content, and we can't wait to get to it. Life's been very busy, though. Normally, we're uploading 4 videos a week. Normally, talking about a month ago. But life got super, super busy, really, really quick. So we just haven't been able to get on. But all right, guys, so it doesn't look like anybody has any other thoughts or comments. So we will let you all go for now. Thank you all for being here. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Adios.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Nos vemos.